everyone, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays Sunday edition. It's good.
You
to
can
see
tell
everyone.
it's the Sunday edition because it's got all the coupons.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
And it's
It's
extra
the
thick.
largest version. Extra
Yes.
thick. That's right. Extra thick. How is everyone this evening?
Fair to Midland.
Things are okay,
That's fair.
all things considered.
Indeed.
I'm doing just
All
fine.
things considered, all's well that ends well.
Yes.
All right. Well, good night, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all we had.
Good show.
But yeah, thanks for the change of venue, so to speak. I've been extremely busy on Fridays for the past several months, so Fridays weren't really working. And we had discussed it, and it seems that Fridays really aren't the best for most of us. So we're trying to do something new, and we're going to do, what is it, the even Sundays? So
Yes.
opposite of
Mhm.
Retro Repair Roundup.
Yes.
So they're first and third, and sometimes fifth. And we're going to be 2 and 4, if that makes sense. A-E-I-U are vowels, and sometimes Y.
Correct.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what we're trying this new format and seeing how it goes.
I think it'll be good, and we should try it for just a little bit. Mostly because Sunday is kind of like you're winding down the weekend.
Yep.
You're preparing for a new work week or a new week of school or whatever. And I was somebody that grew up with Sunday scaries. So
Yes.
I absolutely every Sunday was like starting at about 7 p.m., like right around this time, Central, was like just sort of like I'm fretting and I have a stomach ache and I can't go to
Mhm.
school tomorrow
Mm.
and all of that. And but what helped a lot was being able to be with friends and things. So maybe if you are someone like me, and I know that I am, if you had the Sunday scaries, maybe we can help you ease into your week with like just a friendly conversation about different things.
Sounds good.
I like
Or a
it.
Sunday sedative, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you need help going to sleep, we'll talk about some things for a while.
Mhm.
You just tune us in and leave us turned up, and you just lay
We'll just-
down.
We'll all just
Close
get
your eyes.
really close to our microphones and just.
Yes.
We're gonna
Sunday
talk
sedative
about-
is that one of the new Dairy Queen Blizzard flavors?
It's better than the Sunday suppository, I'll tell you.
Oh,
Oh,
Ooh,
There are a lot of words.
you never
but,
want the nurse to come in and be like, "I got your suppository."
it doesn't
know.
fall out.
yes.
Yeah, it's
No, they pick you up and turn you upside down.
Ah!
So, for all intents and purposes, today is Friday. This
Sorry.
is the new Friday.
This is New Friday. Well,
Yes.
orange is the new black, and this is the new Friday.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we'll test drive this for a bit and get some feedback from everyone to see what
Yeah.
everyone thinks and see how it goes.
Sounds good.
But it's good to be here. I can't remember the last episode I was on. It's been quite a while.
I know.
Sometime in
So
the
it's good
early
to see
summer,
everyone.
I believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably
it was the
before
summer
all
of
the-
'77. I remember it well.
It was the summer of 69.
69, of course.
Of
Ooh,
course. Of
I
course.
don't think he was talking about a year. Do you? The actually, I think the thing. I'm glad you're back, Frank, and it shouldn't pass without bringing specific attention to it. But you're a very busy guy, and you are kind of you do make a lot of this stuff possible and all of that. So that's why I was like, we've got to move. We've got to make it where Frank
I
can be here
appreciate
more
everyone
consistently. So
being flexible. Yeah. So Liam did soccer this year
Mhm.
again, but this year it was 3 days a week. So that made us pretty busy. And now that soccer's over, he's doing Ninja Warrior, which is an hour away in Syracuse. So we have to drive, and we don't get back home on Friday nights until around 9:30 or 10. So
wow.
But, Frank, the added bonus you mentioned earlier, Syracuse now has an IKEA.
they do. It just opened
Oh,
Friday, thank
wow.
goodness. So
So you
now,
can drop him off at Ninja Warrior
Exactly,
and get some
exactly.
meatballs and buy some flat pack furniture. Good
Exactly.
times.
Frank, you should have
He
signed
doesn't
him
like
up
ready to
for.
assemble.
You should have signed him up instead of Ninja Warrior. You should have signed him up for Takeshi's Challenge, because with that you just get a spinal injury and then you're just off the show.
Yeah.
Right.
What I need to sign him up for is one of those furniture assembly courses at IKEA. Just drop him off, let him learn
Yeah.
how to build furniture. We shop, and then we just pick him up when we're done.
And
You
he
come
gets the
back.
homework.
That's right.
He
He gets
smells
some
like
homework.
those rancid
the shelf together.
meatballs. He's like, Dad, I got blisters on my fingers.
Just put them in the meatball sauce. They'll be fine.
Yeah, oh my goodness. But it is great to see everyone. I got a chance to hop on the very tail end of Dave's stream, so I got to see some people there too today. So it's been quite a while. So I'm excited to be back.
All my beverages are slightly out of reach. It's very painful.
Mine's way over there.
Why don't you just have craft services move the stuff for you?
Yes.
Listen, they're union,
What have we got?
and
this
they've
budget for?
already been on set for 12 hours, and we're not paying them extra. So
Yeah.
the table stays where it stays.
You need to talk to your agent. I feel like there's some concessions.
I think
that can
you
be made here.
send everybody outside for 5 minutes, and then you just stand at the door and you go.
Yes.
You make like a table
Moving
shoving
noise.
noise.
Yeah.
And then just like you just see him file back in. Hey, while you're here, if you can
Move the
Yes.
table.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what kind of format we have an idea of kind of some of the stuff we want to talk about, but
Yeah.
is there any catching up anybody wants to do? How has everyone been? I know Frank's been busy. Ron, I know you've had a busy week, I think. Or
Yeah, I always got something going on. So
yeah.
I was out of town. I went to Seattle for a couple of days, but I'm back. And
how was the war zone? Was it good?
oh my gosh, you would not believe it. Actually, while we were there, I'm gonna say this incorrectly, but there was the former site of the 1964 World's Fair is now like a science center and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And there's like a huge the thing that was like the barn basically is now like a place where there's like it's a kind of like a food destination, like I don't remember what the word is for it, but it's just sort of like a ton of restaurants inside a building, like a food mall or like a
Okay.
food hall or something, depending on where you're at. But
Hall of Food.
but when we got there, there is a population of people that are kind of indigenous Chinese people that live very close to Vietnam. I'm probably getting this wrong. This is not to be culturally insensitive. But they were having a festival because I guess after the Vietnam War, during the Vietnam War, they were kind of displaced. And a lot of these folks moved to the Pacific Northwest. So they have like a thriving community of people out there. And just we happened to be there the day that they were having their cultural festival. So
That's
it
awesome.
was really cool. Saw some amazing art exhibits, ate some good food, and saw some traditional dance, and then like kind of more
Awesome.
modern things and all that. It was really cool.
So I've got
Hamong, maybe?
Hamong. Huh.
Yeah.
So I've got the top 4 questions for you, Ron, here by the audience. Was
okay.
it sleepless in Seattle? Did you?
No, actually,
How good was the food?
Actually, I got good rest there. Did go down to the market that everybody talks about, where they're throwing the fish and all that type of
Pike's
stuff,
Place.
and
That's
Pike's
pretty cool.
Place, and got to see the original Starbucks. It's not really. It's the oldest one that's still operating, and there were people lined up around the block to go in there, and I'm like, "There's one of these things on every corner in this town. Come on!"
I was going to say, could I ask you a question? Do you leave that Starbucks and right across the street
is
another Starbucks?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because there's a little restaurant there that's called Peroshki, which is a Russian pastry place that also has like a well-deserved, sort of reputation as being like an amazing food destination. But the line for that was extremely short, so I was able to just walk over there and get a couple of things and try that, and walk through the market and took pictures and walk down to the kind of, I guess that's the Sound or whatever. Walk down there and kind of look at all the the Soundfront, riverfront kind of stuff, and it was really neat. It's a neat town. There's I'll have a video out here shortly, where I basically, because there was a thing I wanted to do while I was there, which is there's a kind of a gag shop. No, there's a gag shop that's called Archie McPhee's that just has like all kinds of zany things. So
is that the picture you sent me?
Yes, of the
That's pretty
two-headed
cool.
baby barrel.
Yeah,
Yes. Or
That's
demonic
hilarious.
two-headed babies in a
Baby,
barrel. Yes, I sent that. So I've got a little video that I'll put
Awesome.
out, not this Monday, or not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. So
Okay,
The
awesome.
second.
second
December
Tuesday.
2nd.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Eric, anything new with you?
Just my continuous year of Mondays at work. So I won't go into a lot of details, but been having to do a lot of hiring
Hmm.
to replace other people and things like that. So it hasn't been all that fun.
Yeah.
And then my wife had surgery recently, and we had VCF and all that stuff going on. So I haven't done any YouTube in quite a while. And if I don't get back on that horse, I'm probably never going to. So I need to do something soon.
I love your disc boxes, by the way. You
Hmm.
used to see them everywhere. Now they're
All
harder
those
to find. Yeah.
things?
Yeah, there's the pull out.
Yeah,
disc
some guy
boxes.
gave me a case of them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
Those are nice ones.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I like
thanks.
those.
So
Ryan?
I do have some hardware to work on, and I'm starting to work on the concepts of a plan for my next game.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Got a
awesome.
concept of a plan.
yeah, concepts of a plan.
Speaking of game, I did get a package in the mail from Eric, and I got the 2 copies of the game that I ordered, Eric's game.
Nice.
So I'm
Nice.
pretty excited about that. I'm going to open one and try it out, and I'm going to leave the other one sealed on the shelf. That's why I wanted to.
then
That way I
put it-
can open one and
Yeah,
put one on the
And
shelf.
then in a year, put it up on eBay. Rare.
That's right.
Fire,
$10 million
fire.
rare.
You should actually, as a joke,
One of 20.
as a joke, you should get it. You should get it certified.
Oh my gosh!
should-
Send it in for certification. That would be hilarious.
And put
I'll
in
be
a nice
looking
little
it up.
acrylic box for it.
Yes, I need to have this
Nitrogen
one graded,
atmosphere.
please. I need it graded and
Yeah.
scored.
You should totally
that
do
is
that.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really funny. That's a good idea.
And speaking of graded things, I don't know if you guys saw this week. I think it was this week, or might have been last week. But these 3 brothers, I think, found an original Superman in their mother's attic,
Oh yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
and it's sold for $7.9 million. It's the highest
boy.
graded Superman one. It's a 9 out of 10. Sold
You know
for
who
7.
buys a ton of that stuff? Like the really expensive stuff is like UAE, Saudi Arabia, places like
Oh, yeah.
that.
Imagine.
They spend a ton of money on comic books and stuff.
Imagine.
Imagine.
I know, right?
Imagine.
Disposable income. What is that, by the way?
I saw a video of somebody from Saudi Arabia or UAE that ran into Wozniak and had him sign an original Apple II or an Apple One, and it was like millions of dollars. Like this
Oh
they
yeah,
brought him
they had
this
it in a big
case and stuff.
briefcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw this new video. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that video. Man,
Cool.
man, imagine having that much money.
Uh,
What
yeah.
would you do? I'd be bored out of my mind.
Well, that's like everybody says. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I wouldn't work. I'd be like, I would feel
You'd have
terrible if
to.
I did work.
Well, look how many of the stories you see the after.
Yeah.
So and so won the lottery. A year later, they got no money. Their house is gone because they couldn't afford the taxes on the mansion.
I'm just saying, if you could be like Kevin Spacey, you could be a lounge singer in Cyprus.
Yes.
I have heard these stories. He did say he is practically homeless.
Yes.
I
Couldn't have to
would
do a
like
nicer guy.
to try that out. If someone wants to give me $1 million so that I can
Just an
experiment,
experiment. See how it goes.
I'm
How long
willing
it
to
lasts.
try.
Interesting. Yeah, and I always forget in the United States, you guys have to pay all these taxes on lottery wins.
Oh goodness, yeah.
In Canada, it's tax free.
Yeah. Well, the government likes to take money for anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
Any transaction.
Anything.
Yeah. But yeah, oh my gosh.
Unless you're a billionaire, and then you're good.
Hey, Chris. Retro Tech Chris. Oh, I don't think we said anything about who was in the...
Yeah, maybe jump down the chat, and then we'll get into some
forgot about that.
discussions.
It's been a while. So who is in the chat? Let's see here. We got Dave. Hello, Dave.
We got that guy, and
that one guy.
There's another guy.
Mrs. So and So, and other
let's see,
person.
Francois.
Mhm.
We have James C232. 27.
That's JC. He's one of our local boys.
Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. Hello, Joe. We've got Thomas Armstrong, Garth Beagle. Let's see who else.
Cass.
Cass. Hello, Cass. Let's see. Eric of Eric's Edge. I've heard of that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's
I
great.
8386.
Yeah,
Jesse. Sorry, not going to
Jesse.
say Jamie. Yeah.
I did that the other day, and Jamie, I'm so sorry. I meant to say Jesse.
Yeah.
Retrotech Chris. CSU, DSU Industries.
Oh, that's CDI.
And I think CDI. Yeah.
The CDI.
I think that's it.
Cool.
So
Well, thank
hello,
you.
everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. For those of us joining later, I should say, we are trying a new format this time and seeing if it sticks. As you can see, all 4 of us are here now, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
So I've already typed out format space C colon. Do I hit
Okay.
enter or not?
No. What you want is you want to get a root prompt on your Linux server. You want to type rm-rf space ***, enter.
Oh my.
Now you boot into BASIC, and then you type G space 500. I can't remember. The
Is that
low-level
Waiting
format
at
for
the Chinese
IBM
takeout
PCs.
edition.
Okay. Okay. Cartwright? Sorry. That's all. Anytime anybody talks about Chinese,
No
waiting for
startup
Chinese.
star on Linux needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So anywho,
Yeah.
tonight's
Well, I'm
We have a
excited.
topic, right?
Yes, we have a topic. What is this week's topic?
The Industrial Revolution and how it
Oh,
impacted.
Eric, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. So we thought we would discuss retro computing and its social impact, and what it means to all of us and the community. And there's actually, I did a little bit of poking around, some research, and there's quite a lot of information about it, and opinions vary. So I thought we'd start with what is it? So Ron, what is it to you?
The retro computing scene, mostly to me, is just sort of because first of all, you always have to think about the difference between retro and vintage. Retro is a much broader kind of thing as it has been applied to different things, and I think that mostly today people will throw vintage into that too. I would say vintage computing, you're doing things on period accurate equipment in period accurate ways. Vintage is more of just sort of like, it's a feel. So it might be a vintage machine, but maybe with modern upgrades and quality of life improvements and things like that. But the retro computing scene to me is basically like after or like during the pandemic, when everybody had more time to kind of like refocus their attentions, they were looking for things that felt cozy and felt like that reminded them of maybe a simpler time in the past. And that's it. It's just sort of like it's been the sort of the re-interest in a lot of these older computing topics and all of that.
Yeah, it retro is a bigger scope than just vintage. I would agree. Like writers using those, I forget the brand of computer, but there's several out there where it's just, there's no prompts, there's no internet. It's just a screen that you can type your text into.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a minimalist interface. It's like if you had a physical typewriter, what would it be like, but electronic? So I see that as sort of retro computing as well. Devices that take you back in a way.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between nostalgia and maybe a smaller subset of IT stuff. Like there are still people that need old computers to do work.
Right.
And that's vintage, but it's not it may be not nostalgic. There's no, it's just I have this 386 and it works with my CNC machine, and I got to keep
Yep.
this thing alive,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to spend $250,000 on a new CNC machine, or some like PLC devices in nuclear power plants. It's like, oh, that thing needs a very specific type of terminal connection to talk to it. That's retro, I guess, or vintage, but maybe not. Doesn't have the same nostalgic feel to it than sitting down to a 386 and playing Commander Keen.
Right.
Right.
But it does bring up a good point that part of the hobby, if you will, or even the motivation behind it has a lot to do with the environmental aspects. You're keeping stuff out of e-waste.
Sure.
If you're a business, definitely, yeah. If you're a business, you're trying to save money. You don't want to drop
Sure.
another $500,000 on a machine.
Sure.
But
I mean, if it's your money,
well, true. But
well, if someone lends you $1 million,
and that's Joe sells SCSI, blue SCSIs to businesses that are trying to keep equipment going because they need a SCSI drive solution. And how you can't walk down to Best Buy and buy a SCSI drive anymore.
Nope.
So stuff like that. So that's kind of in that same realm too.
But yeah, I think that's almost like kind of one of the happy accidents of retro, if that makes sense. It's like blue SCSI was invented because people wanted their SCSI Macs to work again, right?
Yeah.
Nobody was sitting there going, well, I know there's this niche market of $250,000 CNC machines that have SCSI drives that really we could sell a lot of these things to.
Yeah.
But it was a happy accident, right? And I think there's been a couple of cases where, the use case for something we would consider just for retro fun ended up being, critical new infrastructure for a product that existed, or a piece of equipment that existed. So I think there's, that's kind of one of the nice side effects, if you will, of the hobby.
Yeah.
Floppy disks no longer being made. They're all just used, refurbished and stuff. Although if you're, oh shoot, who is it?
Phil?
Polymat.
Polymat, yeah.
Yeah, Polymat.
You're making your own now.
Just make them.
Yeah.
But which is, again, that's another thing, trying to recreate processes and materials, like making PCBs the old way in your bathtub versus whatever. So those people that make CRTs, there are people that will that make tubes and things like that, and have actually created their own CRTs. That might be the future of that part of the hobby, for all we know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you mean you look at like the kind of bringing in some of the other adjacent hobbies, or proxy hobbies. You like the amateur radio. I mean, people trying to find tubes now for amateur radio, that's very difficult. So there's some people that are making their own, tubes for
Vacuum
vintage
tubes and stuff.
for vintage radios. So and I mean, you look at somebody like Dave of Usagi Electric. He just built a computer out of vacuum tubes. So,
right.
So
Gut Bomb and reviving the I want to say Lego Mindstorms, but I know it's
Blocko card.
Blocko.
Being able to create things that allow you to use that where they're unobtainium.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think some of these projects too are the great field levelers, right? Like you look at like Pico Gus as an example. You go to buy, if you went to buy an actual Gus card, I mean, it's like $400 or $500 now. It's out of the range for most people, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's a real, is the term democratizing? Like these products have really democratized sort of the hobby, and they brought the price down for a lot of these things. You don't need a Pico, you don't need a Gus, but a Pico Gus is just as good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's been disruptive
Yeah.
to the collector market, because people that don't absolutely have to have whatever that thing is can get a very close approximation that's going to scratch that itch without like being the down payment on a car.
Right.
Yeah, because there are some purists out there who like, I gotta have this exact period correct thing. I've got to have this exact card. But for all of us who really don't care, you can get the great value version, for a lack of better, word.
And there's room for both. I mean, purists
There
that
is.
want to have
Yes.
the original equipment that can afford to do it, and for
Yep.
people that want the experience.
Exactly.
Well, I equate it to in the automotive industry the kit car, right? Like I could go out and buy a Porsche Speedster. It'd cost me $500,000.
Hmm.
Or I could buy a kit car that looks exactly this approximation, and I'm not scared to drive it, right? So these projects really help. If you want to daily drive something with a Gus in it, you don't have to go. Well, it's a $400 car, and I'm kind of nervous that it's just in that computer all the time. And there's electricity jammed into it.
One thing about the hobby that I think is really cool, and in a lot of people making new items like the Pico Gus and stuff like that make it affordable, is at this point in time here in 2025, I can buy a lot of the items that I really wanted when I was younger that I could never afford,
Sure.
or just couldn't find it. It just wasn't readily available like it is now.
Yeah.
And you're paying pennies on the dollar compared to what you would have paid for that same machine new, when it came out. Like,
And you get
I've
the
got
added bonus of having to recap it. So it's
yeah,
fun for the
exactly.
entire family.
Exactly. It's interactive. Yeah. But like a TAM, I have a TAM. I never even heard of a TAM when they came out. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That wasn't something I was into or
Listen, if it was
looked
up to
at or
Steve
anything
Jobs,
like
it would
that.
never have happened.
Yeah. Or a Mac Portable. Mac Portable was before my time. I have one, but like I wouldn't have had one then. Even in the 90s, I wouldn't have been able to afford one. If I found one.
And I think that's one of the interesting things of the hobby too, is that there are things that are nostalgic to us,
yes,
as different generations that we represent.
Yeah.
But I still also have connections to stuff that I never wasn't around when it came out.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's, the Commodore 64. I was born in '86. The 64 was, sort of on the downward spiral by the time '86 rolled around. But I still love the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Right. I never had one growing up.
I got my first C64 when I was in the 90s. It was in the 90s. Family that we knew gave it to us because their kids were older and didn't use it anymore.
Right. So I think it's cool too to experience, and I often think, like, you always have that notion in your mind, maybe I was born in the wrong time. I feel like, what if I was born in '76 instead of '86? I would have grown up in the 8-bit world. Like, it would have been kind of cool to see that new world, basically.
I would tell you this: if you were born in '76 instead of '86, your back would be hurting a lot more right now.
Yeah.
True enough.
Yeah.
So,
and I'd be nearly 50. So
yes,
But
Yep.
a lot of us also, like you had said about earlier about nostalgia. A lot of us got into the hobby because we wanted to try some of the things that we did growing up. Apple IIs were in our computer labs when I was in elementary school. Middle school, it started going to the LCs, the Mac LCs, and those were the ones that I grew up using. All the time.
Yeah.
And those are the most exciting for me to use, again, because it reminds me of the games we played, things like that. And that's what really is a springboard for a lot of people, is nostalgia.
And I think so too. The other thing that I knew growing up was a lot of the computers that I was given, because they were considered junk, were maybe a generation or two older than me. But they were fun to play with, because if you broke it, it's like, well, it's an old Mac from the or mid '80s. Who cares? Or it was an old 286 that it just happened to be in a classroom and we were playing with it. And if we broke it, it didn't really matter. Right. So there's some kind of freedom in that, because you had the ability to tinker and poke at stuff without having to really worry about maybe the outcome of, should you decide to break it, or if you accidentally break it.
Should you decide to break it?
I mean,
that brings up another point. It's not just nostalgia. There's also circuit bending and remix culture, and people like to, look at the stop bits. They're using a Commodore 64 as a music, device and as part of the band. And it's not just because that's their thing. It's also useful, and they can use it to create music, and it's got it, the SID chip's got a particular sound to it, and there's reasons why they're picking it for the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Look at the, like a lot of the Macs. I'm really attracted to the was it Snow White design?
Whoa,
Yes.
Eric.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is a family show.
Listen.
Well, I really like Snow White.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just telling you, she's already got 7 guys.
Yeah,
You're
like,
going to
that's
be,
right.
you're
I don't know.
I'm,
You got
I'm
a
the
chance.
I'm
It's
the
the line.
8
7
you know,
guys and one's I guess 8. One's a prince, honey. You're going to,
Yeah.
But no one
this is going
throws
to
a
be,
door.
this is going to be a tough sell.
Yeah.
You do look like Gimli, so you're kind of her type.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's techie. Would that
My
be
name
your,
would be
would that be
Sleazy.
your dwarf
That'd be
name?
your
Techie?
dwarf
No,
name,
it'd be
Techie.
Sleazy.
Oh, sleazy.
Sleazy is my cousin. Yeah.
Sleazy
Oh,
is
gosh.
just Leisure Suit Larry with a beard.
Yes.
Basically. So,
But,
here,
what's
come here, little princess. Here's some candy.
we
Oh my
don't get
gosh.
angry if we lose data these days on these machines. Oh man, I crushed when floppy
Yeah.
disks and zip disk died on me. That was
Yeah.
a real thing.
It was, yeah.
Doing a report or something for school on a floppy disk,
Mhm.
and you spent all that time typing it out, and guess what? For some reason, the disk won't load now.
Well, if you remember, well, at least I remember being in school. Eric will remember this slightly different, even because you put all the gray bushes here in the basement tonight. But the I remember you absolutely had to handwrite your essay or your paper or whatever before you could go to the computer lab. Because number one, limited resources to be able to use that space, but then also if something were to happen,
you had a backup.
You had a backup that you could go back in and do stuff. And if you were to write revisions, you brought additional paper and you would put a little footnote, and you would have footnotes of if you added something or modified a paragraph or anything like that. Yeah. That was the early, like late 80s, early 90s. That's how that was.
I type on carbon paper, so
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, ugh, me paper type wood.
Clay tablet.
Eric was there when the carbon for the carbon paper was made.
Yes. It's all dinosaurs.
Feature love Mark 7 production.
What's funny is in the late 90s, when computer viruses really started being a huge concern for schools, they started, I remember the Ditto machines, they started making it where you couldn't bring your floppies from home.
Yes,
they had a box in the classroom.
Yeah.
Your floppy went back in there at the end of the class, like you couldn't use anything from home, anything like that, because you'll get a virus and we'll spread it everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that was the day of like Monkey Bee and all that type of stuff. So it was, it was really easy to like, dicker a computer up.
Yes.
So.
And the thing was like the older people that, the school administrators and stuff, they knew nothing really about the computer other than how to turn it on. So their concept of what a computer virus was like just whatever wild imagination that you can come up with. They think that every kid just can automatically write viruses and codes, and you're just going around destroying everything in the lab.
To be fair, they are from an era where everybody had the clap, but then they still stigmatized having the clap. So it's like, oh, a virus. My social life is over.
It was around the time that hackers came out, and they just so happened to see the movie, and they're like, okay, kids can't touch any computers.
No. The only way to prevent this is we just put, and that's where those dust covers for computers came. We got to put the computer condom over the computer.
Yep.
Yes, they're quite expensive, so I can understand.
So another motivation that I found when I was looking, and I fall into this kind of a group, is I like working in an environment where I don't have connectivity to something else. I'm not dependent on something else.
Sure.
I can create something with just what's on that computer, and I don't need to, go to an external library on the internet to download it and all that kind of stuff. Although I do use external libraries on the internet quite a bit, Macintosh Garden. But the means of production are all there. I'm not dependent on Cloudflare working or, anything like that. So
you see, Eric has seized the means of production.
Yes.
And
Oh, is that the Russian national anthem I'm hearing in the background?
Yes.
Now, I've got an interesting segue too. So we're all talking about physical machines and stuff, but there is a point where there's a debate between emulation versus real hardware,
Mm.
and even not including this hobby, but like I can remember when I was starting to do my Cisco stuff, and there was a huge argument of people buying real lab equipment versus doing like packet tracer or
Mm.
something like that. And I've been a hands-on person. I like to have the real thing because you can't simulate hardware failure or crappy cabling or any of that stuff. So I prefer having the real equipment to do labs, where a lot of people prefer emulation. So I know all you guys have used emulation of some sort.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think emulation is how do I say this without being mean? If you think that emulation is bad, you're gatekeeping. And
Yeah.
that's because we want people to get into this hobby. And not
Yeah.
every kid is going to be able to go out and buy a
Oh,
Payday 1
absolutely.
or buy a Mac Classic or buy whatever, or have the means to fix something that they purchase.
Well,
But if they want to experience it, then they should nobody should
yeah.
ridicule them for experiencing it whatever way they are able to experience it.
Well,
Yes.
same thing. You can experiment and mess it up and just reset it.
Exactly.
Like try whatever you want, learn whatever you want on it.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Just reset it.
what's the person's goal? It's a means to
That's
an
true.
end. They want to
It is.
enjoy it. Then don't yuck their yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
To,
like
to quote somebody.
LGR did a video this past weekend. I'm just trying to remember what the product is called, so just bear with me 2 seconds while I find it. But basically, it's this 200 gigabyte. It's called E01 9X, and
Ron and I just had that conversation.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's the idea that this gives people the ability to basically play. Well, there's a DOS version that came before, and this one allows you to play Windows games from 1994 to 1996. It's a catalog, basically.
Yeah.
But it gives.
don't worry. There's also one for like Scum titles, Scum adventure games. There's another one for Apple IIgs games.
Yeah.
There's another one for like just tons of stuff. It's yeah.
So I think that's a great, you seem like you're like the pusher, it's like we got to make this as easy to get the people addicted to the vintage stuff. So how do we make it the path of least resistance? Well, this is a great path of least resistance. They download this thing on a torrent or they download it from wherever, and assuming it's not LimeWire and they don't affect their computer like it's 1999, they're able to play and experience what it was like to run Windows 95 games.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the important thing on all of that is to recognize that all hardware has a finite lifespan.
Yes.
Software, currently, as long as you maintain backups or have good backup hygiene, that stuff will just live forever.
Yeah.
So a lot of like those projects like you just described are largely about making things accessible, even to people that have the real hardware, because a really good example, the reason why they picked the picture that they did for the little mock-up, because there's a Beavis and Butthead game, and even if you don't like Beavis and Butthead, this is the point of it. It's called Virtual Stupidity. That game is nigh on impossible to get to run on like a real machine because it had so many weird little dependencies. Even when it was brand new, everything had to be lined up just exactly right. And I think that people with their modern brains load Steam on a machine, download a game, and it just plays, and they think that Windows gaming was always like that.
Yeah.
It was literally like playing a game in DOS where you're either playing like the memory management game, you're playing a sound card driver game, you're playing a resource management game. I got to get all this stuff to line up just right, and then your machine has to be the right speed to do things correctly. Windows just made it worse because now you've got a next level of software dependencies. You've got these 16-bit apps, you've got 32-bit apps that came later. It's it's just really, really tough to kind of make all that line up just right.
Yep.
So they picked virtual stupidity just because it's tough to get to run. So even people that have the investment in real hardware and all this other stuff, a lot of them can't play the game.
Yeah.
So this is about making that stuff work for other people. And I think anybody that steps up and says, oh, this is doing it wrong, it's very possible that you're in this hobby for the wrong reason.
100%.
Like Ryan said, this is supposed to be about building bridges. It's supposed to be about making opportunity and having a nice big tent so that people can participate. Not about, you've got to have this exact narrow vision of what this is to be able to play.
Yeah.
Because that's how you kill a hobby.
Yep. And we see that all the time in specifically, I always go back to classic cars because that's sort of my other sphere that I rotate in. And like a lot of, I'll use my own experience. A lot of vintage Volkswagen owners are very much like that. They're the, nasally talk engineer. Well, that's not correct because you put a 1975 lens cap on that when it really should have been a 1973 because this was made in the 4th month of the. They get like that, and they push away a lot of young people getting into the hobby, and the hobby is dying. Like the air-cooled Volkswagen hobby is not what it was 15, 20 years ago.
Sure.
Because they're all getting old, and nobody's kind of stepped up to take the place of these dying people, because a lot of people got scared away by the, stereotypical grouchy old car owner, vintage car owner.
So. I have to ask, and this is a real important point, but who's gonna fill their shoes? You remember that song? You don't remember that song? It's a country song, but it's basically about like gate. It's everybody loves this song of a certain era, but it's like totally gatekeeping like what country music is and all of that. So it's like, who's going to play the opera? Who's going to go play the Wabash Cannonball at the Grand Ole Opry? Can you imagine any of these young kids doing that? And now the young kids are the ones that are running the show, and they're all they can do is talk about these old farts that we're trying to keep them out, and how they're like, oh, I love this, and we're going to do an album, and it's going to be all this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I think that'll kind of kill any hobby, that type of gatekeeping. And so when I see things that make it really easy, and you also got to look at kids today, and I'm like,
these kids today,
it's all about instant satisfaction, instant. They want to have something just work. So projects like the E01 are that. They're a couple of clicks and you're playing the game. It's for people that don't want to dick around. Like some people really want to be like, oh, I got to make sure the DMA is correct on this piece of hardware. And I mean, I remember the plug and pray wars. I was in there with those trenches. Kids today don't understand that, and they don't need to. But at the same time, we want them to be part of the group, and they want to be part of the community. So projects like this are perfect to get them hooked. And then if they want to learn about the hardware, they can come ask questions.
Yeah. The same kind of thing applies to software programming. It's gotten to a point now where you have to have, spend months learning how to do things just to get to something that's fun,
right?
To build. There's still ways you can do it without that if you've got the guidance for it. But somebody that comes up and says, I'd really like to try this programming thing.
Yeah.
Or like, 2 weeks in, they're getting to for loops or whatever. You're going to bore the bejesus out of them. And there's ways to teach it so that it's not like that. And there are environments in the 8-bit world where you turn the thing on, it goes right into BASIC, and you could just look at a magazine article and type in the stuff and learn how you could do stuff like that. And we've lost a certain amount of that because our machines are a lot more powerful. The modern machines can do all of these things, but getting from, I don't know what I'm doing with the glowing thing to I'm writing software that's fun for me to produce is a pretty heavy lift.
It is.
That's why I like HyperCard, and I'm all about HyperCard, because it was that kind of niche environment where you could go in and build things without having to know how to do any programming. And then you could learn the programming. So
And I think it's ironic that I guess maybe the ironic is not the right term, but maybe it is that like back in the day, to load a game in BASIC, you would type it out of a magazine, so it was gamification of programming. And now we've
yeah,
kind of come full circle again with when it comes to teaching programming.
Mhm.
A lot of times you're gamifying it to make it interesting
yes,
and fun.
Yep.
So it's like we've completion by return, I guess.
yes.
Oh my.
So but there's the other thing about there's a lot of social impact to the retro community and what we're doing. And some people are motivated by historical appreciation, and wanting to experience things like they were. That's why you go to a Renaissance festival. Well, no,
Sure.
that's not why you go to a Renaissance festival. You go for the beer, but and
I
the
thought it was
women
deep fried turkey legs.
and deep
It's
fried
like
turkey legs. But
it's
um,
I'm here for the Scotch ale or the Scotch egg ale. Thanks.
yes. But anyway, there's also SE, that kind of environment, or going to Comic Con because you want to dress up as your favorite character and do the thing or whatever,
Sure.
cosplaying. There's a lot of immersive experiences, and some of the younger people are like, "Ooh, this is really cool. I want to know more about it." They want to experience, like, hey, I'd like to punch cards.
Right.
Nobody likes to punch cards, but I want to learn how to punch cards.
Sure.
And just experience it the way it was. Oh, I dropped my stack. Now you've really experienced what it was like back in the 70s when you dropped your stack of cards.
I dropped my stack once, but Hypercard didn't really care. So
Yes.
I dropped my stack once, but the lady at the pancake place gave me another one, so it was okay.
Oh, that was
isn't that
nice of her.
nice?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So, but we spend a lot of time on knowledge preservation and archiving stuff so that other people have access to it and to get it. I mean, look at what Mac 84 does. Spends an awful lot of time archiving, and buying stuff to archive it.
Sure. And I think that's one of the fun things too. There's little like subsets of parts of this hobby that the people that get like latch on, like watching
Yeah.
Steve get excited about finding something in a stack of discs is amazing. It's like watching kids at Christmas. It's it's fantastic. I would also say similarly when I see Ron interview some person who had something to do with a video game,
Some person,
yeah,
of some import.
some people of some importance. I just really hope we've had this conversation. I cannot wait for the day that you get to interview John St. John.
oh yeah. Mhm.
I hope that happens. I hope that someday comes
Yeah, that would be
to
a lot of
fruition
fun.
for you.
Yes.
Because I want to see you do an impression of him doing something.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, that's the voice of Duke Nukem for anybody who's living under a rock. But yeah, watching Ron interview people and capturing that information and seeing the joy in the conversations and the capturing of that information, which, let's be honest, if we didn't do it, it wouldn't exist.
If we didn't do it, someone else would, and probably a better job at
it. And they'd make a lot of money.
Maybe.
And here we are.
Well, you've got sites like Folklore.
Yes.
Where they've got those stories, the origination stories for certain things.
Yeah.
A lot of that we're losing.
Right.
So Ron's efforts to talk to these people is very important.
Oh. Well, like Ron said, the hardware will eventually fail. The software will potentially live on forever as long as it's maintained. But the people that were involved in both have a very finite time.
Yes. Yeah, I agree absolutely.
So capturing their stories is very important.
Yeah.
It also gives context, which is often lost, I think, when it comes to software. It's like especially when you're using something, you're like, why did somebody do that?
Right.
Like, why was that chosen as the interface? Like what was the thought process? And now you can ask them, or at least in the case of they haven't already passed, you can ask them, and hopefully preserve that for all eternity.
The answer is quite frequently marketing.
Yeah.
Accountants. The accountants made
One
us
of
do it.
one of the interesting parts as a side effect of all of this, to me, is the friendship and fellowship of everyone that's in the hobby, because we're all in different geographic areas all over the world. and we all come together for this common purpose, of sharing in retro computing or vintage computing, and we all share our different knowledge and our stories, and there's a lot of people in the hobby that make things
Mhm.
or recreate things, and it's
Mm.
just it creates this new ecosystem, that we otherwise wouldn't have been a part of if it weren't for the hobby or hobbies.
And I guess
Yes.
tag onto that is like, as much as COVID was a terrible thing,
Sure,
I don't think we'd all be here if it didn't happen.
that's
Like
true.
we'd be here, yes, but I don't think we'd be interacting like this. I don't know we
Yeah.
would be friends. I don't know that we would have met each other. I think
Um,
that
I out of the group of us, I feel like I think I'm the newest. I feel like out of the four of us,
I mean, in terms of
and
mileage, sure.
yeah, yeah. And my first exposure is I was watching. I think it was a New Year's Eve live stream. Mike's Mess.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It was Mike, Ryan, Trina, and I think there might have been a couple other people that joined in and out, but I feel like it was the three of you guys. And I was like, "Oh, this is really neat." And that's the first time I've actually sat and listened to one of the shows. And then, then I started slowly, through that. It's like a spider web,
Mhm.
because then I started seeing, like Trina does her own Trina's Technobabble, and Mike did his own things, and Ryan does his own things, and then it's like interconnection, like Ron and Eric and Joe and Dave, and like it's just weird how it works coming off that one show
Mhm.
that I just randomly saw. I wasn't, I just happened to get back into it by buying some Apple stuff. I bought that giant haul, I think, of the Apple II stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And that kind of like I was looking at YouTube videos and stuff, and it kind of just happened to be there was a live stream, and I watched it, and that's kind of like it all went from there.
Of all the
So
gin joints in all the
I know,
worlds.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
this is our virtual 10 forward here,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
there's
And yeah,
a lot of
and
stuff.
you brought up community events like Marchintosh.
Yes.
That's
Mm.
honestly
Yeah.
that's how I got to meet or got to be friends with Joe and with
Mm.
Steve and all of that, because I was like, you got December, you got all these other events and stuff.
Hmm.
There's nothing for Mac. What do we do? And so, and reached out, and Javier made the artwork, and so it's
Yep.
like a lot of people kind of came together, and so it's like those little things. It's like
Yep.
it's that feeling of togetherness and kind of working
Exactly.
for a kind of a one goal, and yeah,
The
absolutely,
common good. The
the,
common
the
good.
common good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how, it's kind of like one of those snowball effects. Like,
Yeah.
you start off and then it just kind of, you get deeper and deeper into the hobby.
A butterfly
you meet
flaps his
more and more
wings in
people.
Japan,
Yep,
Mhm.
exactly.
and there's a tsunami in Newfoundland.
But yeah,
Ooh,
it's
God,
just, crazy
that'd
to
be
think
tough.
about. Yeah,
Wrong ocean.
Richard Tech Chris too. I think I met this crew through Marchintosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of us, it just so came out that all of us at one point or another found somebody on YouTube.
But one of the
most
things that
likely,
I
all
think
of
is
us.
kind of also neat, we have our own little, we'll call it the multiverse, where
Mhm.
we're all parts of other things that aren't necessarily
Yes.
connected to each other.
Yep.
And there are other people that we've never met that are part of other groups, like there's
Yes.
Atari guys, and there's Coco guys, and there's
Yes.
we don't talk about them because but
I like how I am like a peripheral character to a lot of other people's like little universes.
yes,
It
King
is.
King Ron.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And then of course we have the drama, which I think all communities have. We've
Every
had drama.
community.
I'm not going to pick on anything in particular, but it's just it's been a bit of a hard go sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, it's not without its challenges, I'll say.
Right. But
Well, it's people. So
It
with
is.
people come drama.
Exactly. Exactly.
right. And then the big I guess we have our Mecca, we have our big religious pilgrimage that often takes place is VCF Midwest,
Yep.
which I think is sort of where I finally got to meet some of you in person. Ron is dashingly handsome in person, if you can't tell. Eric You would never say it. He's about 7'6" and can lift an entire tree trunk. You should see him caber toss. It's breathtaking. So, sorry.
Some bench pressing all those beige cases.
Well, when I went
Beige
to
computer
VCF Midwest, what's it called? Shady Tel was looking for somebody to move some telephone poles. Eric just like, yeah, sure. Where do you want them? Pick them up. And
I'm
walk
close
around.
to the floor. It makes me easy
Yeah.
to lift them up. So
Low center of gravity.
yes. I look up
yeah.
to people like
Lots of
Ron.
spin-offs.
Literally.
Hmm.
Look up to Ron.
Yeah, look up.
Yeah. Lots of spin-offs. But yeah,
well,
there's all
I'm 6'4". It's yeah.
But
all the different subsets.
if you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be interested in going to a vintage computer festival in Chicago? First off, I would say, why are you saying Chicago wrong? Because everywhere he says Chicago here. It's very strange.
Chicago.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You put your car in the garage?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was
Ron,
kind
do you go to Midwest?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. So Jess and I were just talking about this the other day, and we said that when the kids are old enough that we can leave them overnight with Jess's parents, then I'm gonna come out to Midwest. We've never left them overnight anywhere. We've never stayed the night
You know,
anywhere.
if you
Well,
put them in
let
the
me.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Apparently, kennel wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, so I was going to say,
suggested
just
that was
yeah.
a big
immediately
dog kennel.
tabled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. It is, if you were to drive, it is a heck of a drive, and if you were to fly, that is a lot of very expensive airline tickets.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is that if they were to come, you could literally let them have fun at the venue
Just
the
running around.
whole time.
Oh my God, that'd be an expensive trip. My kids are
well,
feral.
Well, I'm just thinking because they have a pool, they have a lot of amenities there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can just like drive 30, 40 minutes and go do
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean,
Shed's
so
Aquarium.
there's yeah, I was like, those country croc people, they want you there. So
Yeah.
but
But yeah, we
there-
do plan on
Honestly, you
going.
could also just let them run free in the Indian wedding.
yes,
an option.
It seems like there's always one.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah. I mean, it's a big time of year.
But I'd
just-
have to get.
that's how
I'd
it
have
falls
to
on the
get
calendar.
Ryan back down.
Well, that'll happen in a couple of years, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll see.
We'll
Can't
make it
rain
work.
every day.
We'll make it work.
Yes.
So
But then again, you talk about festivals, VCF Montreal, which I am going to this year.
Yeah,
First time
that'll be
they've
fun.
had it, so it should be a good time. And I think there was a big push for Canadians and a lot of people who are a bit disenfranchised with going to the United States.
When is VTF Montreal? Sorry. to interrupt.
It is 63 days from now.
the
Not to be
deepest,
specific.
darkest, coldest part of the year is when it is.
I'm trying to think, Ron. That's about an hour and a half north of where we talked about.
Yeah.
Sorry, interrupt. I just got
Yeah,
off on a
and
tangent thinking about something else.
Montreal is Montreal. It's
Mhm.
it's about an hour outside of Montreal, so
Now,
there's a
will
couple.
they be required to put French labels on all the computers that are there at the show? That's a huge
Because
thing these
there's a
days.
large quantity of people coming from Montreal and Quebec in general, I would imagine it's going to be a bilingual event, which I think
Well,
actually
they
isn't mandatory.
passed a law there where everything had to be labeled in French. You could not put English on anything.
Yes, and you also
Yeah.
have to make sure the English is like 50% smaller than the French.
Yes, yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy.
Well, that's culturally what they want. So
Yeah,
As
but
Francois says, it's called ordinateur.
yeah, but what's crazy to me is like, for an example, music stores.
Yeah.
When the instruments, don't come in French, you're not going to get these manufacturers to start putting their Yamaha written in French or something, it's just crazy.
well,
to
it's a
me.
Japanese word, so
Yeah.
that'd
Yeah,
be tough.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't get
It's
this.
a Japanese word for dirt bike, guitar, piano,
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
in that order.
Yes.
I've actually done some software development for Canadian companies, and one of the most expensive parts of that development is the bilingual requirements and everything. So,
We just
it's
make it
there.
work.
You have to do it. It's just part of the deal.
Yeah, get back to the comments. The concept of going to one of these meets. It's a bit of a mindset shift at first. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, for me, it was never an answer or ever a question. It was like my dad had passed and had left me a pile of airline points, and it was basically I had to use them, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? It wasn't enough to send myself and my wife anywhere, so I was like, well, I can get a very cushy flight to Chicago for that amount of
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to VCF.
Yes. And I'm glad you came because it was
Yeah.
very nice to meet you in person and be able to give you a big hug and all that. So it's
And you brought us treats.
I did. I brought you
yes.
Canadian delicacies. Next time, I will bring you some very Canadian delicacies. Have you tried our prairie oysters yet?
Oof.
Oh, are they
people-
similar to Rocky Mountain oysters?
Correct.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Lamb fries. People do not have a taste for testicles down here. Do not believe what the internet.
I'm
No matter
looking
how much
for-
chocolate you coat them with.
I want
I mean-
cod tongue. I'm looking for the cod tongue and stuff
Oh.
like that.
No,
Yeah, I can bring you some of those.
no thanks.
The cheeks are also
Now,
very good.
From what I understand is if you go to a VCF, this first thing you got to do when you get there is you go. It's like Disney. You get the
Yeah.
autograph book, and then you start at the beginning, and you have everybody sign on your way through.
Now, for me, it was you had to go to the whiteboard
Show.
out front and put a sign that says Mac 84 is looking for image writers,
Yes.
and then put his email address there.
Yes,
That's
And
I
key.
did
phone
hear
number.
that as well.
Yes.
Here's the I've been coming to this for I don't know, I think Steve Mahoney and I, or Steve Mahoney, who's like a St. Louis area friend, he was the one that introduced me because he invited me for several years and I could never figure out how to get there. And then he was like, well, I'll drive. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Let's just go check it out. And so I went in, I think 2019 or something like that, or something. It was I mean, because it was I think, or maybe they took a year off or something for pandemic, but it was the first year after the pandemic that they did it. And I was just amazed. And I just made a little quickie video of walking around and stuff. And that video blew up. And then it was and then I started talking to people about it. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. You got to get here and go look at my video. Because I guess people just never did videos before that. Or they might just have oh, I took a 5-minute little snippet at a booth or something. But I just did a huge walkthrough of the thing.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
do
not
like your
saying,
walkthrough videos.
yeah, I'm not saying that I helped popularize this event, but
Yeah, but for somebody who
I did my part to
hasn't-
advertise it.
Yeah, but for somebody who hasn't been like me, I enjoy watching your videos
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I get to see what it looks like.
Sure.
And
all
for
the
somebody
different people
somebody
who are
who's been there and
Mhm.
didn't go back this year, I was watching it. It was
Yeah.
a tear in my eye and
Yeah.
feeling sad. And
I do that quick walkthrough. You
Yeah.
have to go and watch Userlandia's
I was just going to
video
mention
that he just that he just posted, I think 2 days ago or something. That is literally each booth and an
Mhm.
explanation
awesome.
of what's at each booth. I am just it's just wiping through so you can get the feel of what's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
He he went to every booth with the exception of 4 or something because he just couldn't find the people or they didn't set up or just somehow missed it in his footage. So, but
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. He said it's probably the last time he's going to be able to do that because it's just
Yeah.
exploded in size.
Yeah,
you
there's
know,
no
but,
way.
yeah.
There's no way to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
it's
then
so
the-
huge.
the your videos when you're walking around and then people start talking to you, I think that's the funniest thing. It's
Yeah,
or they're or you're oh look, a copy of Leisure Suit Larry or whatever, and the guy's
Mhm.
oh, I'll give you a good deal on that.
yeah. I'll have to come back and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you go back though? Is the question.
That's the problem though, because you get the problem is you get pulled away with other things. So
Yep.
there's for a 2-day event, and let's be honest, a day and a half event
Mm-hmm.
because Sunday people are packing out at 3 p.m. They're trying booths are down. They're trying to go, and it would be great if it was a real 2-day event. It opened Friday, Saturday, Sunday is that middle-y day, tear things down. I understand there's a big cost involved with doing that. Don't get me wrong, but it would be probably better. You could get more people there, and you could do more of the stuff that's there.
I mean, realistically, every other VCF charges a nominal fee to enter. I know that that's taboo, but I feel like that's a great way to assist in the
Extend
costs.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we won't get too into that because there's some
Opinions
heated.
vary.
Yes, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, and sometimes they stink.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that.
Yes, but I would agree. 3 days would be awesome.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
2.5
Especially
days.
especially when you have people traveling so far, and because it is the Mecca, it is the pilgrimage, it is the one that everybody wants to get to.
Yeah.
It really should
Yeah.
be.
See,
You know who would love that? The hotel. The
Yes,
hotel would love
100%.
Oh,
that.
they'd love it. Yeah.
But
See-
I would even argue like there has to be. Is there a tourism group for that area, Schaumburg, or maybe even Chicago itself? Like I'm sure there has to be, like, you're bringing a lot of people to the town. They
Yeah.
have to obviously see the economic benefit of that.
now,
Yeah, sure.
Joe says I was booth bound for most of the show,
Yeah.
and unrelated sales were good. I would
Mm-hmm.
think if it was additional time, then obviously they could say like this first morning or whatever, we're gonna block off this first hour so that the people who have booths can actually walk around,
Yes.
meet the other people with booths, and maybe
So we'd
pass
look at
something.
empty
That's
booths.
what Friday. That's
Yeah.
what Friday is supposed to be about. And this
Yeah.
is the first year where it was very much, if you didn't have a table, you had you could have a +1.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you were somebody with a table, or you were somebody that was a speaker or a presenter or whatever,
Yep.
you could have a +1 there to assist you. And they actually watched the door. There were not, unlike last year, where I am pulling things out, trying to set my booth up, and people came up and were going through my stuff, asking me what was for sale. I didn't
happen.
have that problem this year.
Yep.
And I mean, in fairness, I walked in. I think we were all waiting outside. I walked in. They're like, "Oh, who are you with?" This is last year. I was like, "I'm a volunteer," and they just gave me a volunteer tag.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, but here's the thing: if you put one tablecloth out,
Yes,
you're
volunteering.
volunteering. You're helping the event. But yeah, it definitely was better ran this year. And there is a few little foibles, but anything like this is so huge. They really need more volunteers. They need more people that are going to have shifts that they're doing a specific role during that time,
Mhm.
because it would very much help with a little bit of the crowd control. And Userlandia does point something out that makes a lot of sense, which is that it's hard to tell who's really an event person, because they wear a thing, but when your back is turned, you look like every other attendee.
Yeah.
So having some brightly
T-shirts
colored
or
shirts
something,
that
yeah.
say staff on the back,
Yes.
and
That's what
have
everybody
your
else does.
logo. Yeah.
Yes.
So that way I can, this
It's
is a
easy to
person,
point out.
and not just that, this is a person in charge,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because
Well, not
you
only
can
that-
have different colored
So
shirts.
in our local retro, or our local con that we have, they follow the Star Trek shirt colors. So security is red.
recommend that too.
Yellow is engineering, so they're there to help you with stuff.
Mhm.
You know,
It's gold.
Hooking
or
stuff
gold,
up,
sorry.
getting online,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you can just pick people out. You're like, okay, that's a security person. I need that person
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And they're wearing a red
Yeah.
shirt.
Yes. Yeah.
And their name is Ensign Ricky, and you knew they were going to be dead by the end of the episode.
Right. Yeah. Oh crap. But no, it's so I again, I'm glad that we have these places that we can meet, and that we can kind of get together and have a good time. And
Well, it definitely
it
beats
makes for a
back
lot.
alley. The back alley retro meets were just terrifying. So
Well,
Yes.
not only for the meeting aspect, but there's a lot of good place to pick up equipment
Yeah.
or software or things that you might want to add to your collection.
Yeah.
See what's new. I know a lot of vendors like Joe set up with newer items like the Pico Gusses was one this year, Blue Scuzzies, things like that. You might get to see something new that you didn't know about, or a new project that somebody's got out. That's a great place to learn about it and find out about it and pick up stuff. Yep. Eric with the adventure, the Quack of Dawn. So a lot of stuff that you might not see otherwise. I think it's great to be able to network and pick up stuff, because the cost of shipping some of these things, like computer towers and stuff, is crazy. So
Oh yeah.
best
And
place to get some free
and like
piles at some of these events is pretty awesome looking from the videos.
and like Ron said too, it's kind of like there are people there that are trying to make a buck, and then there are some
Yeah.
people who are there who are trying to, I don't want to say pay it forward, but they know what they have, but they don't necessarily want to gouge anybody on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
And oftentimes, if you find something that you want and it's a
Mhm.
little bit out of the price range, you just check back with them the next day.
Yeah.
Because like Ron often points out, people don't want to be dragging things home.
Well,
No.
not only that, but a lot of us would rather get something in the hands of somebody who actually really wants it or appreciates
Yeah.
it or wants to
Yes.
use it. It's great to, instead of sitting on the shelf and I'm getting absolutely nothing out of it, I'd rather you have it, or I'll give it to you for next to nothing, or help you out by getting this in your hands. There's a lot of that, and I think that's fantastic,
Yeah.
and it helps everyone in the hobby too.
Yeah. My booth last year, not this. I mean, the year before was all about SEs full of,
Yep.
already got a blue SCSI in it,
Mhm.
all ready to go. It's got the SD with the operating system on
Yeah.
it, and I priced them to move.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
because there are some people who are just new to it, or even have been in the hobby for a long time that don't know how to recap,
Yep.
or it's too expensive, or don't really have the technical know how to replace the blue SCSI or install an OS on it. That's great for stuff like that. To
Yep.
pick something up like that at VCF.
Yeah, there was a guy that swooped in and grabbed one and was like, "I'm a teacher. This is perfect. Thanks. Here's the money."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Took
Yeah,
off. Didn't even
that's
have a chance to
fantastic.
talk to him.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's what furthers the hobby and gets more and more people involved. It's being nice. It's being genuine. It's helping other people.
And it's oftentimes it's leveraging, other family members. Like if you have a brother that's in logistics and shipping,
Yep.
maybe they send you a pod full of computers. I'm sorry.
Well, and Ron, almost everything that Ron has designed and built that Joe sells,
Yep.
JCM-1, folks, is stuff that he's done just so that it gets people what they
Yeah.
need easily at a low
Yeah.
cost, and
So it exists.
enables them to
Yes,
get something
exactly.
running.
Well, yeah, we talked about this, I think, previously, but like you look at something like the blue SCSI, it's relatively inexpensive, and then you look at some of the other projects. I'm not going to name them, but for other machines, they are very expensive. Like
Yes.
there are certain hard drive emulation platforms
Yeah.
Yeah.
that may or may not be used by IBM, that are 2, almost 3, maybe even 4 times the cost of a blue
Yeah.
SCSI.
Yeah.
And so you
And
have,
for no reason.
other than it's a closed source project, and
Yep.
it's a moneymaker, right? So,
And that's fine.
and that's
There's
fine
nothing
too.
wrong with that.
Sure, but
Just like there's nothing wrong with someone coming out with a reasonably priced alternative.
100%.
Exactly.
So if you want to build an MFM drive emulator that doesn't cost $1 million, Joe will definitely sell it for you. Just
Yes.
putting it out there.
Actually, that's kind of the thing. It's Joe likes to partner on a lot of that stuff. So
Yes.
if you have something that you're like, I want to bring this to market, but I don't
Yep.
want to deal with any of the shipping, returns,
Logistics. Yeah.
like promotional logistics part of it, just reach out to Joe and he will
That's right.
take care of those things for you.
Oh, cool.
I
Well,
make a thing. I put it in the world.
Yeah.
yes,
right.
you do. Well, there's actually more
Yes.
that we
Blue
could talk
backup
about.
tape. Where's
on
our
the,
tape drive?
Oh,
Actually,
sorry.
well, yeah,
Yes.
we always talk about blue
I need
ID.
blue magnetic
I
media.
need a
please.
blue punch card reader and paper
Yeah.
tape
Right.
reader.
That's funny.
There's actually a lot more that we could discuss about the retro computing scene,
Mhm.
but I think
We're
we're
out there,
already
yeah.
over an hour.
Pressed for
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it was great to see everyone and to hang out for a while and talk about things we're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, things and stuff.
Things.
And we're glad that everyone was able to shift gears and switch to Sunday today
Yes.
to try out this format. So please let us know in comments or messages or whatever media you'd like to use, whether you enjoyed it better having it on Sunday evening or even the format or any of that kind of stuff. feel free to let us know. We appreciate your time and your feedback.
Yes.
And we know how difficult it is to get the time shifting set up on your VHS recorder.
That's
So
right.
we really do appreciate the fact you're here with us on Sunday night. It's quite.
That's right.
We're quite thankful for you. Cool. Well, is there any final words of wisdom, thoughts, comments, moans, groans, queries, complaints, qualms?
I would say that there's kind of a lot going on in the world right now. I would just encourage people to be patient, and especially with people that are coming around to whatever ideas or whatever things that are happening. Be patient with those people, because one day we'll probably need them to support us on other things.
Right.
It's doubling down on how you were right the whole time about something doesn't do you any good. It doesn't win you any friends. So be patient with people as people come around to different ideas. Show people a little grace. I think that is so important right now.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And on that lovely thought, good night, everyone. Have a fantastic week. And don't forget to tip your waitress.
Yes.
Oh, 1 second. I forgot to set the outro video.
Oh,
Stand by.
Okay. That's okay. I was going to say, we